Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the LES Sexologist. Today, I am so excited to have our guest. It is Emily Sauer, the visionary founder and CEO of the Pelvic People, a clinician backed wellness brand dedicated to dismantling the stigma around pelvic pain and restoring joy to intimacy. She is here today to talk about her journey from inventing a revolutionary wearable buffer in her kitchen to becoming a CEO. And I also did stalk you a little bit on the internet and found out that you do kickboxing. So
God, I
need
love
to hear about that.
physical. I'm like a monkey. I'm like a monkey in this world. I grew up doing competitive gymnastics, so all the
You
upside down aggressive thing. Did you say me too?
no, yeah, well, not well, I did competitively when I was younger, but I was like a coach for competitive gymnasts.
Oh, how fun.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. So natural segue into kickboxing for sure.
I mean, sometimes you just need an outlet for anger. Like I'm not mad at anybody, but this feels really good.
Yes. It's to feel powerful. It's amazing. Oh, I love that. How long have you done kickboxing?
I don't currently do it.
Okay.
But I started in high school and then continued training. And then I taught kickboxing in college. And I had the most attended non-mandatory fitness class at college because I was like a little yappy dog, like, they put on real pump up music and I'm in people's faces and be like, you got this, like, rah! And then like the music pumps up and then you go
Yeah.
harder and then they go hard. It was like, oh, I think I'm just like a built-in, like, cheerleader kind of person, which just shows up in a lot of the work that I do, and obviously the ways that my body exists in the world, publicly and privately. But, yeah, yeah.
I I love that. That sounds amazing. I wish I could go to I should go to a kickboxing class. I was actually thinking about boxing the other day. I saw an ad.
I
So
mean, group
maybe
fitness is the best. It's like motivation to go, motivation to continue going.
oh, I agree. I'm a pole dancer, chair dancing, lyra. I like the aerial arts because gymnastics segued well into that. But I don't know, maybe a little aggression. Maybe I have more in me than I
So I also do partner acrobatics with my husband.
shut up.
It's gymnastics, yeah.
Oh, you're so cool. Speaking
Partner
of how cool
acrobatics
you
is
are.
so fun. I mean, we should probably talk about what we're gonna talk about because
Right.
we could diverge for the entire hour.
Speaking of how cool you are, let's talk about how you entered into what I consider the coolest space around, which is the pelvic health and just sexual wellness space. So tell us about your journey from, regular person who kickboxes and just exists in the world as an incredible human being to CEO of a company. Take me on that
Okay.
journey.
Let's do it. Yeah, I mean, I previously worked on high profile photo shoots as like the on-set technician with like very A-list celebrities and politicians. Yeah, which was fascinating because I was like at the base station on like while all the images would come in to where I was, and I would have to tell everyone what they were doing, like how everything was going. People with giant egos needed to know they looked beautiful. And so as I was doing that, I let's just say, oh god, like going out of order. Anyways, for my entire adult existence, I had a deep pain during penetration, and I never knew why, and I never really actually considered it a problem because every time I went to the doctor and asked for help, the tools that they had to diagnose me were ineffective. So like they used a sonogram, nothing showed up. They took tests and nothing showed up. It's like, okay, if nothing is wrong, then I must be the problem. And sex never like, it got to a point where I would never tell anyone or any partner about the situation, so I would just kind of work around it. And when you're in a position to do nothing, then you think like, "Oh, things will just get better."
You're right.
And, usually they don't.
Mhm.
Oftentimes it's easier to kind of, like, sit in your own stew, but, because I just didn't have the confidence. I looked up pain during sex, and
Mhm.
internet results yielded, like, porn, or, tools actually for male performance, so they have, like, pillows to angle your body, but it was, like, deeper penetration, and, like, that is just the last thing that I wanted. And so, when these results again, it's like everything continued to point to nothing, and so I had no one to blame but myself. And so finally, at a low point in my life, where you have those, like, slow trajectories down and you find yourself at the bottom,
Mhm. Yes.
sex got way more painful. because I was so stressed, and I was in a not a good relationship. And finally, at a breaking point, I just, like, was in a car with a friend listening to music, and I was like, "What if you just put a donut around a penis? Maybe I wouldn't hate myself so much." Um, and we, like, laughed and joked about it, and I was like, "Actually, though,
Yeah, you're like,
this
"Wait,
is."
was that a stroke of genius, actually?"
I was like, I was like, I have to try it because I can't do this anymore. I couldn't function as a person. I was pushing everyone who loved me away from me. I felt more alone than I had ever felt in my entire life, and I would cry. Like, I couldn't stop crying sometimes. It was really, really, really sad time. And this idea of a donut around a pink frosted donut around a penis was just so delightful that I was like, oh, why not? You know,
Yeah.
and again, that the I didn't totally understand what was going wrong. But I was
Mhm.
like, maybe if it just goes shallower, that could help. And so I bought these like foam donuts on Amazon, which I would not recommend because they were like vanilla and sprinkled and not hygienic whatsoever. But I will say the moment that we tried it and it worked, it was just I felt years of blame
Mm.
and guilt and shame and just like self-hatred shed. And I remember like my heart opened to the sky and I just cried because I felt like Superman in the moment. And it was like, I have this choice to not be in pain and I also have permission to feel good, which was
Mm.
completely new uh, for me for my entire existence. And in that point, from that point on, sorry, I realize this story is taking a very long time, but
Oh,
from that
take your time. I am on the edge of my seat.
uh, but I just felt a sense of control over
Mm.
what I was experiencing, and I told anyone and everyone about my experience of pain during sex, like friends, strangers, family, like, "I have this experience, I have this crazy idea, like, what do you think about it?" And I would be out in social situations and drop this conversation and then, like, do whatever social bobby bops when you do in your 20s, and then you come back to the group, and they were still talking about painful sex, like, 2 hours later. And before I knew it, the conversation didn't just, like, start and end, it spread.
Yeah.
And I went to my local art store and I bought, like, silicone and I started getting, like, 3D prints made of molds and, um, very early on, even though the product was, like, uh, not a comfortable thing to wear,
Yeah.
just the feedback that I got was like, "I've been experiencing pain during sex my entire life, and my fiancé and I had painless sex for the first time last night, and, like, we both cried because we have so much of, like, a life together to look forward to. Like, thank you for everything that you do." Um, it was just, like, so heartbreaking and
Mhm.
so hopeful with every single person who tried those early prototypes, and, like, from very early on, I had no choice but to keep going.
Wow. That is oh, it's so beautiful because I work in this space so much. I specialize in sexual dysfunction, and the amount of, women that I meet, the amount of couples that I interact with where they have this, similar story of you, where it's like, well, everything seems, quote, normal when I go to the gynecologist. So it must be something wrong with me. I'm fundamentally broken. And
Mm.
for them to find out that they're not. And I have seen the difference that your product specifically has made in their life. And yeah, to see that joy on their faces, this hope that it brings them. I mean, you have changed thousands of lives. Like, that must just feel incredible.
Well, the cool thing is also is, like, it does feel incredible, yes, a million times yes, and a lot of people aren't ready yet to do something, and so
Mm.
what we've done, that conversation that I started in, like, 2019, exploded on Kickstarter, right? Like, we heard from Urban Outfitters and Harvard Cancer Research Center. We, like, heard from these, like, massive medical and just mainstream organizations really eager to have a conversation about painful sex because it didn't exist in a large scale way before we started. The existence of the tools that we make validates an experience for our entire population that has been silent forever.
Yes.
So on one hand, yes, it's very cool that the tools are helpful. On the other hand, it just sparks a dialogue and a paradigm shift in a way that is absolutely necessary for people to make educated decisions about their health.
Oh my
Right.
goodness, I could not agree with you more. I just love meeting other people, like, in this space that are making this difference because, yes, the conversation. It starts with the conversation. It starts with recognizing that this is going on, that the women that are experiencing this, they're not crazy,
Yeah,
they're not
no.
broken, they're not like, they're none of the things that they've believed about themselves or that maybe they've heard, but rather this is an experience felt by many and that there are things we can do to stop it, to prevent it, to make it a different outcome for future generations, which I am such a big advocate for. I love.
Totally.
Okay, I wanna know, when you're making these prototypes and you're doing this whole thing of like, "I am going to make this. I'm gonna make this a thing." How, like, because you said your background was, like, in photography and all this stuff, not in, like, creating prototypes and running a company. What was the learning curve there? There had to
Oh,
have been so
deep,
much.
deep learning curve, let me tell you. Yeah, I have no background in manufacturing, supply chain, business. You got like these business school folks like raising lots of money and spending it in crazy ways. And I was just like, you know what? I completely value driven. I want to help people at my core. And as a patient founded company, I knew that I didn't just want to help the people who needed help, but I also knew that there needed to be change from the top down because I went to my doctor's appointments for years and didn't get help. And there's no way that that was just me.
Mm,
So how is it that we can also create change from our medical system downwards and give them the tools to start the conversation and provide an at-home treatment plan that can help them do their jobs better. So going from the prototypes, I actually from the prototype stage uh, s- got on the phone with every OB urologist that I could talk to, and I talked to a urologist, this guy, and he was like, "Pain during sex isn't a big enough problem for you to be solving. However."
mm.
Yeah, I know, hear me. However, you should
Okay.
talk to this woman named Susan Kellogg. So, the couple days later, she's a sexual medicine specialist. I get on the phone with Susan Kellogg, and she's like, "Quit your day job. Do it." And, she's like, "Come to this medical conference." And I looked at the medical conference, like, the top 5 people who were running the show there, and I brought my little prototypes and that I had made in my kitchen with, like, sticky boogers everywhere, but they were perfect. I would not leave my house if it wasn't perfect. Showed up at these conferences, people were like, "Oh, what do you do?" Expecting some gynecological profession, and I was like, "Oh, I'm a patient." And they're like, "Oh, like, what seems to be the matter?" And I was like, "Well, I have an idea. I have this prototype. Like, do you think this could work?" And, like, literally, Rachel Rubin grabbed the prototype. She runs down the hall to this guy named Erwin Goldstein, and she's like, "Erwin, look, it just makes sense." And Erwin's like, "This would be great for my cancer population. Like, this would be great for my endo population. This would be great for my vulvodynia population." And it was like, these were words I had never heard before. But I was like, from that moment on, I just started going to medical conferences to learn because there's no reason why this education should stop at the clinical level. It should be accessible to anyone who wants to understand what's happening with their bodies. So it became our mission, again, value driven, patient founded, to be the vessel that provides that education at a clinical level, translating it in a way that everyone can understand.
Oh, I hope you know, I just got full body chills. I'm not even lying to you. I have goosebumps on my whole body. I'm, like, feeling so, like, I'm feeling emotional. That was
I
so.
don't know what happened. You like get into my soul and wake it up.
Yes, that that is just, I love the enthusiasm that they had for the product. The fact that like, I can feel the passion so much, and I just think of, like, all the people that I work with and how much, like, the passion that you have, I feel as well, you know what I mean? Where it's like, "I wanna help, I wanna do this thing," like, and then to have clinicians on board and have their validation as well is just like, wow, what a magical, cool thing.
Totally. I mean, and, like, getting in now, like, transitioning into, like, how in the world did I become a CEO as a
Yes.
self-ADHD misfit? Great question. I'm so glad you asked.
Yes.
Um, we do things differently.
Mm.
Because I don't have a business major, because I don't come from, like, a typical background, like, we're not just taking tools that exist and changing the color or, like, optimizing our finances by, like, whitelisting a product that already exists and, like, maybe tweaking it a little bit. Like, we're actually using design thinking, asking the questions to the clinicians and to, like, a large, like, group of people. Just, like,
Yeah.
through, like, our messaging and, like, our correspondences on social, um, finding out what are the problems that aren't being solved.
Mm.
Like, what would make people want to start taking initiative, want to use a tool, want to keep using a tool that could help everyone's lives improve, that could help clinicians' jobs be easier, that could help people get to the goals that they want. You could there's so much garbage out there right now. And so anyway, so as a CEO, it's like I have learned how to hire people who know how to do these things.
Yeah. And there it is. Yes. I love that. So, like, having the humility to be like, "I don't know, but I'm gonna hire someone amazing that does." Yeah,
Well,
that's
I
it for
mean,
CEO.
but it is my job
Yeah.
to make sure, my personal job, um, to make sure that we are values driven, that we are quality driven, that we create an ecosystem of affirmation, education, and like tools
Yeah.
um, that make a difference.
Mm.
And then there's, like, a perpetual, like, determination to continue doing that. It's not like to meet a financial goalpost or, like, to lead to be this, like, ego-driven thing. It's like, no. I'm sorry, like, we uniquely hear so many different stories of real people with real, like, relationships and self-esteem issues and feeling of hopelessness. And being a CEO is being in direct relation with every single person who comes into contact with our brand. That's what being a CEO means to me.
Yeah. Oh, well, when I hopped on a call with you to just discuss, the product, I thought for sure I'd be getting, just someone that, talks about products, just, maybe an intern or something. So when I hopped on and it was the CEO of the company, I was like, are you kidding me? This is the coolest thing ever. Like I instantly felt that connection of you care so deeply about connecting with not only like, the patients or the clients that may use the product, but also how people like me in the education space or in the clinician space, how we are talking about it, how we use it or advertise it. So I really appreciate your care that you have and it really comes across, truly. It's very impressive.
I appreciate that. And there's like cracks in the there's like nothing's wrong with perfect. But it's been a really fulfilling
Mm.
time.
So I wanna know how you went from the O-Nut, which is this buffer that you invented, that you took to that medical conference. Now you've created this company to the invention of the kiwi and the prototyping for that and some design decisions that you made to go after exactly what you just said your goals are, which is to genuinely help people, like, not just create anything, but create something that serves a purpose that is needed and that can add hope into people's lives. I'd love to know where that idea came from. Yeah.
Okay, well, real quick, and you can drop this anywhere in the script, but
Yeah.
just to give it like an explainer on what it is in the world we're talking about. So ONUT
Yes, please.
is a depth limiting buffer. ONUT is a depth limiting buffer for folks who have deep pain during sex. So that could be for any number of root causes. Um, but primarily, what it does is it's a stretchy stack of rings worn at the base of a penetrating partner. So that could be a partner, it could be a toy, it could be a dilator worn around the base, and then during penetrative sex, compresses down like a bumper. But rings can be added or removed at any time during any position to control exactly how much goes in a way that feels good for both partners, right?
Yeah, and I
Uh,
will say, so soft. so stretchy,
Squishy.
so like, they're just the most fabulous texture, and, like, the stretchiness of them, that must be quite comfortable to wear. I'm
Yeah, I
not
would say
restricting.
if you can't fit in this, you got a whole other issue on your hands.
Yeah, they're
Oh,
awesome, and how they fit together too, like, around each other to stack,
yeah.
just awesome invention.
It's very useful. I mean, basically, it's a mechanical adjustment that can make sex comfortable, while an individual is kind of addressing root causes with a clinician. You know, it's kind of an option that helps you have comfortable sex while kind of addressing the other stuff that's going on. But it's also a really great conversation starter. A lot of times when during penetrative sex, if it's painful, there's this like system shutdown where like silence is unbreakable and you're just like and like the body tenses up and it's either like fight or flight or embarrassment, you know, whatever that looks like. It could be a lot of things, but all of a sudden now there's this like cute squishy thing. You're like, "Oh, do you want to add a ring? Do you want to take one away? Like, how does this feel?" Like
Mm.
very basic easy questions that create that layer of safety so for both partners, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
both partners can just relax
Mm.
and you can feel your body. You can feel your partner's body in a way that is just completely present. And from there, what becomes possible, right?
Right. Oh, it's so great. It's such a great, great product. I love it so much. I promote it all the time. I'm like, the second someone's like, "I have pain, let me put you onto something." Hold on, before you finish your sentence, I have a few things for you.
Amazing. So the transition from Ona to Kiwi. So what's amazing, Ona is clearly like a depth limiting tool for deep pain during sex. People were like, okay, cool. I have entry pain. I have like burning at the entrance. Like nothing can go in. It feels like I'm hitting a wall, or like I get like traumatized at the you know when anything is near me. Um, can Ona help? And it was just like, no. It is well, I can't in some ways, there's, like, a psychological component, but entry pain is kind of a different thing. So we knew that we wanted to create a tool that addresses entry pain differently than dilators and wands. There's obviously a place for those, people really like them, they can be effective, and at the same time, they have not seen innovation for decades,
Yeah.
okay? They look like penises, they're kind of intimidating. Frankly, I don't like them. Sorry.
Mhm.
They're also extremely useful, disclaimer, and people do like them. Here we are. Diplomacy. Uh, but, like, tools are really only helpful if you wanna use them, right? And we know that there are lots of contributors to pelvic floor hypertonicity, that, like, tension in the pelvic floor. So we knew we wanted to create something that external, that vibrated, because we know from orthopedic physical therapy that vibration is useful for muscular relaxation. It's like
Yes.
the unfortunate thing is as soon as you introduce the clitoris, people assume it's a sex toy.
Mhm.
However, the fundamental function of vibration affects the pelvic floor musculature the same way as other areas. So,
Yes.
like, we knew that we wanted to create a vibrating tool, but that could also be acceptable to clinicians because we know a lot of people don't want to use sex toys. A lot of clinicians don't want to refer sex toys. Okay. So we're going to create this new category that's not a sex toy, but it's also not a medical device.
Yes, so it's approachable from either end.
Approachable from either side,
Yes.
and it doesn't push either agenda. Like, it doesn't make you feel bad because you need to use it, and it doesn't push you towards orgasm, right? So in those early stages of oh, this is Kiwi, for example. So it's a
Cute.
multi-purpose myofascial release tool, for entry pain. So it's a shallow entry device with clitoral stimulation that can be used externally as well, so that people don't have to start with penetration.
Mm.
Right, just as like a little break.
I love that it's a multifaceted tool, that it's not just one thing. That's what interested me the most when I very, very first saw the ads, about it, and because Ona I had been familiar with since the Kickstarter, actually, but Kiwi and stuff, when that started coming out, I was like, "Ooh, what's this now? Wait a second, it can be used for external, like, massage on, the glutes and thing." I was like, "This is great."
So, the cool thing about it okay, so, like, we knew that So we were just gonna create an external device, but we knew that we talked to enough clinicians, they were like, "You gotta get something inside, to work the superficial pelvic floor relaxation," just like the musculature at the entrance, that first layer.
Mm.
Um, but you don't need, like, 6 inches inside when the superficial pelvic floor muscles are only, like, an inch and a half deep. So we're like, "Okay, let's put 2 and 2 together and create shallow entry device." But then, it became very clear that motivation and confidence are a part of at-home tool use or, like, at home just any kind of at-home protocol.
Yeah.
Um, so we know that when people are forced to use a tool a certain way, and then their bodies don't meet the expectations of that tool, there's such a deep sense of failure, right?
Absolutely.
So when you have a tool, like you said, that can be multi-purpose, like you can use it on your glutes and like your hips and your lower abs. You can use it like on the like a perineal body, like a tennis ball. You can like just massage out like this called bulbocavernosus, ischiocavernosus around the vulva, like the musculature underneath, without doing anything inside. Then people have like we have this canvas of curiosity instead of expectation.
Oh, love that. Yes. That was beautiful.
Uh, so that's kind of how it evolved. Like we knew that we wanted it to vibrate and be partly external. We knew that we wanted it to be partly internal, but not too much, and we wanted it to be multi-purpose and acceptable by clinicians.
Can I ask, I'm gonna get real nerdy here,
Do
about
it.
the motor and
Yeah.
also the name. Where did the name Kiwi come from?
So there are two motors in Kiwi. So that one is a kind of like a rumbly motor, like a it's a buzzier motor, like a zzz. So you have the choice between like one, the other one, or both of them at the same time at 4 different intensity levels. People get very opinionated about vibration. The other
Yes.
cool thing about the frequency of the vibration, it goes low enough that it activates what's called the gate control mechanism. So we oftentimes associate vibration with arousal, with stimulation. However, we also know that if you hold something that vibrates in your hand for like a long time, your hand goes numb.
Mm.
So vibration also serves a desensitization function. So it basically what it does to your nervous system is like initially it might be perceived as like stimulation or just sensory input. And then the longer it's in contact with the body, it becomes desensitized and it's no longer perceived as a threat. And in
Yes.
that space of in between, you create positive associations with touch.
Mm. Which is so vital when you have someone who anytime that there's anything, whether it's a finger, whether it's, a penis may be way too much, like anything even very thin that's going and trying to penetrate inward, then it's immediate pain. It's immediately like the body freaks out.
Yeah.
It's so difficult. So to get them to a place where their body can relax, where their nervous system can calm down enough, and that it can just be more of a relaxed space, that is just gonna be life-changing for so many people.
I mean, you, like, literally nailed it. Vibration is inherently, like when vibration is applied to musculature around the body, it can be extremely relaxing, and kind of like what we were saying before, if it's not overly pathologizing or overly sexualized, like, again, you have this vibration thing and you're like, "Oh, it's on my genitalia, I should be moving towards orgasm." Like, you do not have to do that with kiwi because it has therapeutic function, and so the function is relaxation. Like you can with someone recently wrote a review, like it was like a couple months ago now, that they were sitting in front of the TV with their clothes on, with the vibration on, resting against their vulva, and said that it felt like a warm cup of tea for their pelvic floor.
Oh, that's
Like,
so great.
may we all have tea together someday.
Yes.
That's a little too far,
But
but
no,
you know what I mean.
right. But
Like,
I love disconnecting as well, just from like a, sexology point of view, where if every single time we think of any sort of stimulation on our genitals, even, in a clinical space, that it has to lead to some sort of penetration or some sort of arousal, like an increase in arousal, that so that is not a great healthy relationship to have with ourselves or with our own bodies. And it
Mm.
does make it more difficult for us to relax and to when you do want to go into that space to really choose it.
Mm.
Whereas if it constantly feels like this obligation that the moment there's some sort of stimuli, whether from myself or from someone else, it has to lead somewhere, that is just a really rough relationship to have to our own sexuality and just our own body. Your vulva is another part of your body that we wanna feel familiar with, that
Yeah,
you have choice around what you do, what you choose not to do. All of that is up to you, but immediately associating any sort of vibration or anything to, sexual arousal, I think it's really healthy for us to disconnect that. So,
totally,
yeah.
totally. I mean, also, like, you think historically our women's bodies have been treated as body parts, and, like, the doctors are treating the body part, and our toolkit at home is treating the body part, and when we expand that and redefine how, um just how to move towards a healthy relationship with our body and, like, musculature rehabilitation and getting towards diagnosis, all those things, um, like, with Kiwi, for example, you start broad, start massaging, like, your legs, like, areas that aren't as emotionally loaded so that you can feel a sense of success without the pressure of sex or without the pressure of, like, a doctor fixing something. Just start
Right.
in areas that aren't as filled with as much expectation, and then, like, it really just starts small. Like, it's so fun to explore our bodies, like, if and when we're able to get there, and then, like, yeah, and so as a tool, as a company, as, like, the whole thing, it's like, even if we've made some degree of success at some point, there are, like, inevitably moments in our lives where we're, like, high as a kite and, like, low as a rock on the bottom of the seafloor.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of, like, offering ourselves grace in wherever you are to just start small in a way that, like, helps you feel good about who you already are.
Mm.
So much of what we're doing, like, so much of what people want is to be different when in fact there's so much that's already working. We just have to turn up the volume there.
Oh,
Um,
yes, I absolutely agree with you. Helping people discover who they are and how their sexuality connects with them, how they are embodied beings, and that they are choosers around what that means to them, how they use it, with others. I love that this tool can just be something that can help bring more pleasure, greater relaxation, and then if you want to take it into a more sexual space, you can, or at least it can help present those options to you, to make sex more pleasurable. But it starts with just understanding ourselves, our bodies, what we're capable of, and feeling at home with what we have, and getting away from those thoughts and those feelings that we're broken or that there's something wrong with us.
I'll tell you something. I 1,000% agree, and I have an opinion that is strong and not often agreed with.
I'm so ready.
We very sparingly use the word pleasure in our branding, in our business at all. Because, like, for me personally, I just know that when sex is most painful and I have a partner, I'm, like, married now, but, like,
Mm.
if I'm with a partner historically that defines their experience based on my enjoyment, or they only feel good if I'm feeling good. There's just so much pressure for me to feel pleasure that it becomes performative, like, extremely performative, like, really like, it's sad. It made me sad about who I was and who I wasn't. And so that pressure to feel pleasure actually made me not wanna be intimate with a partner at all for a period of time, and so it wasn't just like, were we having sex or not? It was like, we stopped holding hands, we stopped cuddling, we stopped kissing. All of a sudden, that expectation to have sex and to have, like, really good, amazing, blah sex, like, just took every piece of intimacy off the table. I'm, like, a huge fan of just, like, play non-sexual play.
Yes.
Um, but you know, when you start using the word pleasure, it just means orgasm for so many people. It doesn't mean enjoyment. It doesn't mean, like, laughter. It doesn't mean, like, that warm feeling you have when you hug somebody, or the feeling when you eat a delicious piece of fruit that, like, wakes up your whole body and appreciates the earth for giving you that piece of fruit, you know?
Yes.
Like, pleasure can be those things, but in the way that we use it today in modern society, that's not what it default means. So we as a company use it very sparingly despite the efforts of some of my TVs.
No, but I think you're on absolutely like the right track because until we first kind of, as you said, with some other things, fix it at the top, until we can start to think of pleasure as being all of these things, as being everyday moments that bring us joy and tapping into the sensual nature of just like things
Existence.
around us. Yes. Then it exists in all things that it doesn't immediately have to be sexualized for
Yeah.
you to have like that those are they're not it's not in a vacuum. It doesn't have to completely coexist together, but rather just pleasure in life, joy in life. So I think until we get to that place, I completely understand why you stay
And
away
keep
from
doing what you're doing. It just, like, it always
no.
raises an interesting flag for me to
I
kind of
yeah.
help folks to consider how we orient around the term pleasure. Yeah.
Yes, I absolutely am with you on that. I'm preaching that all day long, especially like with I speak to a lot of people that choose to be abstinent before marriage. And when, we have to have conversations about, healthy sexuality and how to then not fear pleasure, like the word pleasure or the association, because they only associate it with, sexual things, but they're like, oh, but I'm not choosing that. But I loved your definition of what you said of what things can be and just the sensual nature of life. I just feel it very deep in my bones.
I mean, it is interesting the concept of fearing pleasure and just, like,
Mhm.
I think oftentimes fearing being in your body at all.
How you market the kiwi, it actually is fantastic for my audience specifically because a lot of the women specifically that I'm working with, if let's say they're engaged and they have not had any, sexual relationships prior to marriage, but they can't even put a tampon in. It's so painful, right? We're setting them up for a pretty painful honeymoon experience if they can't even put a tampon in. That's gonna be a problem, or, a lot of times I have, clients or that have very, very traumatic IUD insertions, it's the very first time anything has ever been inserted in them, and then it's extremely painful, it can really tighten up, cause that hypertension, it's just really rough. But because of the way that kiwi is made and the multifunctional uses of it, and that it does sit in the middle of that space of it doesn't have to be this tool used for, in my crowd, like the masturbation side of things, but it's
Mm.
also not, just dilators where that can feel intimidating. It is such a beautiful place for people to come to and a tool that they can use that's approachable and it has helped. I know just off the top of my head, at least 4 clients of mine that, were in those circumstances where they were preparing to get married. They wanted to have, an enjoyable sex life. This was a choice that they made to, stay abstinent before marriage, but it was going to be painful because they couldn't even put in a tampon. So introducing the kiwi and having them use that as a tool it made it so they all of them that used it did not have
All of them? Oh,
honeymoon.
how
Isn't
exciting!
that amazing?
It is so wonderful.
I
Oh,
mean, I've recommended it to, like, 30 million whatever people, but, like, 4 I know for sure, they got it, they used it prior, we went through all the different techniques. They also, they met with a pelvic floor therapist,
Yay.
and they had the most incredible honeymoons that was just so connected with their partner that they were really able to have such a wonderful time because they were able to use this tool
Oh,
beforehand.
no, I have chills. I have the chills. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about human connection.
Yes,
It's not about, like, the best sex ever. It's, like, literally, it is human connection. It is loving who you are with another person.
mm,
Uh,
amen.
and
Hallelujah.
not pleasing them and not performing for them and not pretending for them. None of those things. It is loving yourself for exactly who you are with that other person, for exactly who they are, you know? Um,
Yes.
yeah. I actually wanna read there's a letter that comes in every box,
Yes,
um,
please.
because, when I first created the O-Nut packaging back in the day, I wanted it to be and say everything that I would have wanted to hear when I was in that really dark stage of my life. Like, I watched, if you haven't seen the Mister Rogers documentary,
Oh, I
and if you
have.
wanna
I
oh
have.
my god, if you want yeah, I mean, a good cry and some self-love, oh, that movie hits so hard. So, I basically watched that movie, cried my face out, and then wrote this letter that to this day goes in every box.
Oh, I'm so ready to hear it. Well, I mean, I've seen it myself, but I'm ready to hear you read it.
So, this is the Ona version of it. There's also a Kiwi version, but it says, "You made it. A big congratulations not only on your new Onut, but also on all the hard work that led you here. The journey is never easy. I tell you with my full heart, you are sexy exactly the way you are. You're a problem solver, a shoulder to lean on, a spreader of joy. You put a lot of love out there, and you deserve to live that love you share. So, in the spirit of curiosity, embrace adjustment, awkward moments, and small, mighty victories, and know deep down, but not too deep, that you're doing great. Now go play. All my love, Emily."
Oh,
I still get super emotional.
that's so beautiful. That is the message so many women need to hear. And the fact that you have created products that help them to feel that truth, what a beautiful message.
And, in like a crazy way, it's like the future of pelvic health and women's health and AFAB people's health, like, people of all gender identities, um, is human centric. It is whole body human centric. And by including this letter in every box, every doctor who recommends our tools also sees that letter. And they also know how much bravery it takes for someone to make that appointment and to show up and to be in an open minded space to potentially take feedback and take action. So clinicians aren't just treating a body part anymore, they're working with another human being.
You're gonna just, risk the world. I'm convinced. Kiwi and Onut and your other products that you have, like, they are just the fact that you guys are, like, somewhat of a new company-ish. I mean, you're not that old. It's 'cause you
In the scheme of, like, femtech, we, like, when we started, there was, like, a women of sex tech group, and there were, like, 20 of us in there who all turned out to be, like, very successful founders, and everyone was talking about orgasm, and I was the only one talking about pain, and that was, and that's anyway, whatever, it's a small story, but, like, that was in 2018, and so from 2018 to now, the conversation is totally different.
right, and it's beautiful to see the progress that this space has made and just women's health in general, the research, the empowerment that's coming from women, us saying, "Wait a second, pain isn't normal. Let's stop
Yeah,
normalizing it, let's address it."
yeah.
It is so beautiful to see even just in recent, months this year, the definition change, or the name change of PCOS to PMOS,
Love it.
and also, like, endometriosis studies
Mhm.
being much more prevalent, and we're learning so much more about it.
Early diagnostic tools, yeah.
Yes, and then also having, there's just so many more resources, being able to do pap smear tests at home rather than having to go to a gynecologist,
Mhm.
and, if you have any sort of sexual trauma, like, giving a little bit more empowerment there. The clitoris, finally, for the first time in human history, the nerves of the human, the clitoris being mapped out.
Instead of on a cow?
Yes,
Thank
just
you.
Thank you to the researcher in Amsterdam. She is, incredible. I'll be praising her name and her team. It's just so exciting to see how much this space is moving towards progress.
So we've actually contributed to the science. So we have one published study with ONA with an endometriosis patient population on acceptability of the tool, and it showed positive, very positive results. So that has been announced at medical conferences as a way to change treatment protocols, which is very exciting. And we just finished. We can't run the studies because that would be biased. So we actually have universities and established research centers lead the studies. So we have another IRB approved study with kiwi testing efficacy of kiwi as well. So that will also hopefully yield positive results and then be presented at conferences, pelvic pain, all different kinds of pelvic conferences moving forward. So
Oh, that's
contributing to the science is just as important to us as well.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. I'm such a nerd when it comes to the research. I love that side of it, of me reading all of the papers. I have all my subscriptions to the journals. Yeah, I
So
love
good.
it.
You pay for it.
Luckily, I have the student stuff or like the professor.
It's so crazy how they gatekeep, how they, like, paywall
Oh,
all of the scientific literature, which again is, like, part of what we do as a patient-founded, clinically backed company is, like, be the translator. We have access to the research articles as well, and similar to you, it's, like, our job as translators to distribute that information
yeah,
at
make it
large.
accessible.
Yeah,
Exactly. Because yeah, I always make sure that I'm affiliated with a university of some kind. So I'm able to access their library of all the research papers. And then I distribute
yes.
that to,
Wow. If there's one thing to take away, it's associate yourself with a university so you can have access to research papers.
yes. Yes, absolutely highly recommend, 'cause, yeah, that's well worth
Well,
Is there anything else, that you would want listeners to know about your products, about you? What are you most proud of when it comes to the pelvic people and the products that you've made?
I'm honestly, one of the things I'm most proud of is just how much attention we pay to
Mm.
how much we listen to people on a daily basis, on, like, a monthly basis, on a like, we just listen to what people are angry about, the pain that people are feeling, the joy that they want to feel, and we base all of our decisions around that, like, all of our messaging, our products in particular, and I think, again, a lot of businesses lose sight of that in order to, like, grow or make money or meet someone else's goals who's funding them, um, and we fortunately have been bootstrapped, and so we don't we don't owe answers to anybody, which means we get to stay value driven. And I that is something I'm very, very proud of.
Oh, that's so amazing, and that really comes through everything that you do, the products that you make, the marketing for them, also, like, your website, so awesome, very informative. Love the imagery, by the way, such a random tidbit, but I love the when you go onto the main page and it has the beautiful, like, Greek goddess, and just the curves, I love everything about it.
Amazing.
It just feels very personable and, yeah, people driven, which it makes it so easy for someone like me who educates and who works with these types of populations that have pain and that are seeking help. It gives me so much confidence in saying, here's this tool, here's this website, here's this company that really cares about you. They're not just trying to sell something, but rather they are making things for the exact thing you're talking to me about. And this can help and bring a lot more hope into your life. So just thank you so much for everything that you do. I
Thank
really
you so much,
appreciate it,
Nikki.
and I
Your
appreciate
joy
your
is
time.
infectious. I am so excited for everyone in your world and the world, everyone in their worlds, because it's just a space that needs like enthusiasm, and enthusiasm breeds more enthusiasm, you know? So just like bring on the hard conversations, like the conversation that you're afraid to ask, do that one first. Like, I'm afraid to say this to my partner. Oh, maybe you should do it. Like, oh, I'm like afraid to like do this thing. Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, that one. Or just just starting that conversation. I tip my hat to you so much and everyone listening. be bold, be brave, like, you can do it. Like, you already are doing it. Like, I just the fact that you're even listening is, like, the step.
You're taking this yeah, you've taken so many steps just to listen. So thank you to everyone.
Yeah.
Emily, I hope to one day see you at, a gynecological conference. One day I'm gonna meet you in
Yeah.
person and
Run up to me, don't even say hello, just give me a hug, and I'll be like, "Yes!"
I'll be like, "Yeah." I'm I'm just so, so happy to have met you, at
So
least in
fun.
this way. This was
Yes.
so wonderful.